What's up? It's your boy Kevin to turn on this motherfucking YouTube shit. Wow, what the fuck?
What's up? It's your boy Kevin to on YouTube shit. Hey man, we are Lit, just man, turn. Today, it's motherfucking day. Shit hitting outside. Big Crip and the gang shit hitting outside shit, man. Free Palestine, free Congo, Russia do your thing, and Texas stand the fuck up. Each day is a new day, be a better version of yourself. Never let somebody bring you down, always fight back. Never let somebody tell you are, but also don't put yourself in a position you don't belong. Stay humble, let's get on the revolution, on the movement. Keep Yahweh first. Coming to the Black Hebrew Israelite as a real Jew. We out here. Alright. Today, it's a motherfucking day. Shit hitting outside. Big Crip and the gang shit hitting outside shit, man. Alright, gang. Sean Kingston. You know what I'm saying? He's a popular rapper. You know what I'm saying? He had a bunch of hits back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Like one of them called My Beautiful Girl. You know, Sean Kingston, man, is like, he's almost like a one-hit wonder, but he had like a good songs afterwards. But you know, he did his thing. So we've been looking at Sean Kingston for a little bit. If you not look into my recent old video, look up Kevin Two Trent and Sean Kingston, you'll see I've been talking about him. Unfortunately, man, Sean Kingston might be cooked. Him and his mom might be cooked. Scammin, frauding. One thing I don't really like is scamming and frauding. But it's like, when you scamming like these big businesses, a lot of times they scamming niggas anyway. They scamming us with the prices. Like these prices don't be that. The prices don't be that expensive, but they boosted like the prices up on everything they sell. You know what I'm saying? So it's like nothing wrong scamming the scammers, but at the same time, you know, he's starting to scam like regular people, and then like he getting like kickback. You know, even though they scamming, but they gonna scam us, and we scam them back, we get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't justifying what he doing, because it's like, damn, you know, motherfuckers put that hard money on into some shit and they scamming all that shit. It's like, niggas gonna get mad, you know what I'm saying? So his mama is in that bitch. So they just went to court and let y'all niggas know he's been charged. They facing years, like decades. So we have the videos breaking down how it went down, and this shit's getting crazy. Shout out to Rap Daily. We got Sean Kingston and his mother sentenced, man. We know we've been following this shit for the longest. I think they both got in trouble for scamming. You know, they were scamming niggas, like taking people, like getting like free stuff and not paying it back. And it's just so much shit been happening. You know, they went to court. And, you know, we was going to talk about it. So now we finna talk about it.
Sean Kingston couldn't say a word as he was escorted out of the courtroom hours ago. His mom had been arrested, and he had begged agents to protect her as they took her away. But with fraud spanning millions of dollars and involving scamming Redditors, and even using his connections with Justin Bieber to dupe people, Kingston should also be worried about how long he's going to be in prison as well. What happened to Sean Kingston? For those who might be too young to remember, Kingston was dead-ass giving us that unique Jamaican-American sound that had everyone vibing. But fast forward to today, and Kingston's name is trending for all the wrong reasons. No cap, this story is wild. Sean Kingston and his mother, Janice Turner, were found guilty of wire fraud, defrauding businesses of over $1 million in luxury goods. That's right, not just Sean, but his mom, too. They're literally facing up to 20 years in prison per charge, and the sentencing, it's scheduled for July 11th, 2025. The internet is absolutely losing it over this mother-son duo caught up in some serious legal drama. Let's rewind for a second, though. Before we get into all the fraud tea, we need to understand who Sean Kingston really is. This man didn't exactly have the easiest come-up. His early life was marked by hardship, including a breaking and entering charge at age 11, time in jail, boot camp, and periods of homelessness, often sleeping in cars with his family. No joke, it was tough. What's even crazier is that his mother, Janice Turner, was incarcerated for identity fraud during his teenage years, adding to the family struggles. Despite all this, Kingston managed to turn things around when he was discovered on YouTube, and signed to Beluga Heights Records in 2007. His rise to fame was literally the definition of going from 0 to 100 real quick, and for a while, it seemed like Kingston had finally made it out of those tough situations. But here's where things get spicy. Kingston's career hasn't exactly been popping off lately. His follow-up albums Tomorrow 2009 and Back to Life 2013 saw diminishing commercial success, with Back to Life failing to chart at all. Basically, the man went from chart-topping hits to struggling to stay relevant, and this financial decline might be a key piece of the puzzle when we look at what led to these fraud allegations. Let's talk about what actually went down, because this is where it gets absolutely bonkers. In May 2024, Kingston's South Florida mansion was raided by SWAT, leading to his arrest alongside his mother on charges of fraud and theft. Like, we're talking full-on SWAT team raid, the type of thing you'd see in those intense police shows. There's literally footage of this raid that shows how serious the situation was. The allegations against Kingston and his mother are truly next level. They were accused of defrauding businesses of over $1 million through fraudulent documents and failed bank transfers, targeting sellers of high-end vehicles, jewelry, and other goods. We're talking Cadillac
Man, Sean Kingston out here trying to live his best life off of scam money, y'all.
The man was really out here trying to ball out on a budget, a fraudulent budget. One of the most damning pieces of evidence came from
that shit wild, man.
Moshe Edery, who testified
I always say this, man.
providing a fake wire
I fuck with the robbers more than the scammers, cause at least when you robbing, you got a chance to get caught. Scamming, you on some fuck shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you might never see these motherfuckers a day in your life.
The audacity is legitimately on another level. The evidence against Kingston
when they do get caught, shit, it's gonna be by somebody else.
The police found voice memos and texts, such as Kingston instructing his mother to create fake receipts
I don't like
to delay
scammers.
payments. Like, they literally have receipts on the receipts.
It be some pussy-ass motherfuckers behind the computer trying to scam niggas.
I told you to make fake receipts so it looks like the transfer.
But at least when you robbing, you got a chance to get caught.
Major yikes. Now, as we all know, Sean Kingston isn't just
That's
known for his
face-to-face
music.
shit.
He's had his fair share of personal struggles and challenges. In 2011, he was seriously injured in a jet ski accident in Miami, Florida, alongside a female passenger, which shows that his life has been full of ups and downs. But this fraud case is hitting different because it involves family and potentially decades behind bars. What's also interesting about this whole situation is how Kingston was using his celebrity status to pull off these scams. According to court documents, Kingston leveraged his fame by name-dropping former collaborators like Justin Bieber and promising social media advertising to lure businesses. He even told a home entertainment company he was Bieber's business partner to secure a $150,000 home theater system, a claim that Bieber was supposedly unaware of. Talk about clout chasing gone wrong. The sheer magnitude of this fraud is actually wild when you break it down. Kingston and his mother defrauded multiple businesses, including jewelers, car dealerships, and luxury goods
that's, you know what I'm saying?
fraudulent documents.
That's some wild shit.
Transfers. The scheme was active from October 2023
but can't
to March
hate the man hustle, but shit, man.
They were at this for months. According
Niggas
to
put their hard-earned money out into some shit, and niggas just come out here with some fake-ass, baloney-ass shit.
That's a whole operation.
Scamming
Here's a breakdown
niggas.
of some of the major items they allegedly scammed. An Audemars Piguet watch worth $285,000.
But a lot of these companies, they scamming niggas anyway. You know what I'm saying? They scam. These companies are scamming niggas, and we just scamming them niggas back. So I get this shit. I'm talking about pussy-ass niggas who scamming like hard-working motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Who trying to make it.
home theater system from a luxury TV company.
Scamming these big corporations, they deserve to get scammed.
Various jewelry valued at $480,000 from other businesses. The trial itself was a whole vibe. In March 2025, a Broward County jury found Kingston and Turner guilty of 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and 4 counts of wire fraud after 3 hours of deliberation. 3 hours. That's how quickly the jury was convinced of their guilt. The man who once sang about fire burning is now watching his future go up in flames. After the verdict, Kingston was placed under house arrest.
I wish I could get my notifications to stop popping up, but it's like my phone, I put it on Do Not Disturb, it should still be popping up. I had to go extra beyond just to stop my notifications from popping up.
With Kingston begging marshals to protect my mother as she was taken away. No matter what they did, seeing your mom get taken to jail has got to hit different.
That's kind of crazy, but I mean, shit, he knew it could happen.
From mansion raids to courtroom drama. So the whole legal saga kicked off in May 2024 when authorities decided they'd had enough of Kingston's alleged shenanigans. A SWAT team raided Kingston's rented mansion in Southwest Ranches, Florida, leading to his mother's arrest. The footage from this raid was giving major movie vibes. We're talking officers in tactical gear, police vehicles surrounding the property, the whole nine. Kingston wasn't home during the raid, but that didn't save him from catching these hands of justice. He was later arrested in California at Fort Irwin Army Base after performing at a concert. Imagine going from performing on stage to being put in handcuffs. Talk about
but
a
when we
vibe
get
check.
robbed as
TMZ got the
people,
whole thing on video,
they ain't trying
and
to
it's
arrest the
absolutely wild to
motherfucking
see how
people,
quickly
the big
Kingston's
corporations
life
who
changed.
robbing us.
After the arrest,
But they
things got
trying
real
to take
official
us
real
out.
quick. Kingston was
The
booked into
fuck?
Broward Jail on June
Get the
4th,
big corporation
2024,
motherfuckers.
with charges related
All the
to the $1
goddamn
million
taxes and shit
fraud case.
on our
Bond
houses and
set
shit,
at
bitch.
$100,000.
All this extra ass
And
money
2 months
they be
after the
taking from
arrest,
niggas.
both Kingston and his
The
mother were
fuck?
indicted in Miami federal court. This wasn't just some minor legal trouble. They were
Y'all make
facing
that shit.
serious
They can
federal
scam us
charges
and
that
make it
could send
legally.
them away for decades.
They try to
Court
scam them
appearances that
motherfuckers,
followed
the
were
big
giving
corporations
total
back.
drama.
Y'all trying to lock these
During a
niggas up for
pre-trial
good.
hearing on August 26, 2024, both Kingston and his mother pleaded not guilty, with Kingston's attorney
Trip, this shit
seeking
wild.
dismissal of one case. But the prosecution wasn't having it. They had receipts literally and figuratively. Now, I want y'all to understand just how serious these charges are. Kingston and Turner were charged with 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and 4 counts of wire fraud. Each of these counts carries a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison. Do the math, that's potentially 100 years if the sentences were to run consecutively. Now, typically sentences run concurrently, but still, we're talking about some serious time behind bars. The trial itself was mad interesting. It lasted 5 days, with the prosecution presenting evidence of 33 fake wire transfer receipts. One of the key moments in the trial came when Fort Lauderdale jeweler Moshe Edery testified about how Kingston provided a fake wire transfer screenshot for a $285,000 watch. Edery claimed that Kingston promised to introduce him to other celebrities for future business opportunities, even playing a voice memo in court where Kingston said, "I'm going to have you at all my video shoots and red carpets." But those promises turned out to be cap, and Edery allegedly lost his credibility and got fired as a result. What's also interesting is how the defense tried to spin this whole situation. Turner's defense claimed she was protecting her son from scammers, asserting she had always intended to pay back debts. Meanwhile, Kingston's defense portrayed him as a child, clueless about finances. But the jury wasn't buying what they were selling. After just 3 hours of deliberation, the jury found Kingston and Turner guilty on all counts. The moment the verdict was announced, the courtroom was filled with tension. Kingston was reportedly emotional, begging marshals to protect my mother as she was taken into custody. This moment really humanizes this situation. Regardless of what they did, seeing your mother headed to jail has got to be devastating. Now let's talk about what happens next. The sentencing is scheduled for July 11th, 2025, which means both Kingston and his mother are currently in limbo, waiting to find out exactly how many years they'll be facing. Kingston is under house arrest with electronic monitoring, while Turner remains in custody. The judge cited Turner's past criminal history as a reason for denying her bail, noting her 2006 conviction for bank fraud, for which she served 16 months in prison. This isn't the first time Turner has been in trouble with the law, which definitely doesn't help her case. During Kingston's teenage years, his mother was incarcerated for identity fraud, which adds a whole layer of complexity to this story. It seems like fraud charges run in the family, which raises questions about nature versus nurture and the cycle of criminal behavior. Speaking of cycles, let's not forget that Kingston himself had legal issues as a youth. At age 11, he faced a breaking and entering charge, leading to 21 days in jail and subsequent boot camp. His early life was marked by struggle, including periods of homelessness where his family had to sleep in cars. It's a classic case of someone who came from nothing, made it big, and then seemingly couldn't maintain that lifestyle when the checks stopped coming in. What's particularly interesting about this case is the role Kingston's mother played. The judge described Turner as the operator, fixer, and accountant behind the scheme, managing deliveries and ensuring the fraudulent transactions proceeded smoothly. This wasn't just Kingston acting alone. It appears to have been a family operation, which makes the whole situation even more complicated. Both defendants' attorneys have indicated plans to appeal the verdict. Kingston's attorney, Zelska Bozanik, stated, "We do not agree with the verdict and express gratitude that Kingston was allowed to remain on bond pending sentencing." Turner's attorney, Humberto Dominguez, also plans to appeal, citing the need to challenge the court's decision. But realistically, the chances of a successful appeal seem slim given the overwhelming evidence presented during the trial. Now, let's talk about possible sentencing scenarios. While each count carries a maximum of 20 years, it's rare for first-time offenders to receive the maximum sentence, especially in white-collar crime cases. This isn't Turner's first rodeo with fraud charges, which could lead to a harsher sentence for her. Additionally, the scale of the fraud, over $1 million, and the number of victims involved could also factor into sentencing decisions. Federal sentencing guidelines take into account various factors, including the amount of money involved, the defendant's criminal history, and whether they accept responsibility for their actions. Given that neither Kingston nor Turner pleaded guilty or expressed remorse during the trial, they may not receive any leniency for acceptance of responsibility. Legal experts might predict that Kingston could face anywhere from 5 to 15 years, while his mother, given her prior convictions, could face a sentence closer to the maximum. However, this is pure speculation.
So they about to go to court?
For sure until the sentencing hearing in July. Another factor that could influence sentencing is restitution. The total amount defrauded is over $1 million, and the court may order Kingston and Turner to pay back this amount to the victims. Given Kingston's apparent financial difficulties, this could prove challenging and might result in asset seizures or wage garnishment in the future. The fall from the top has been very loud, and fans have definitely provided more insight. Fan reactions, social media storm, and what's next? The internet has been absolutely wilding since news of Kingston's conviction broke. On X, formerly known as Twitter, the reactions have been coming in hot. One user, at Crawford_Dante, posted on March 31st, 2025, saying, "Yo, Sean Kingston and his moms just got hit guilty on that fraud tip. Over 1 million fake flexing on cars and ice. From beautiful girls to court tears, son wildin'. Philadelphia don't play that. Keep it a buck or get bucked, you know what I mean?" This basically captures the shock and disappointment many fans are feeling. Another ex-user didn't hold back on the criticism. At CryptoDrugs101 commented, "Sean Kingston referencing people trying to break him daily after a fraud conviction is wild. Accountability nowhere in sight." This points to a frustration with Kingston's Here's how to never have to accountability for his actions. Over on Reddit, the discussions have been just as spicy, but with more of that classic Reddit humor mixed in. In a thread titled "Sean Kingston Facing Decades in Prison Following Indictment Over Wire Fraud Charges," users were quick to reference Kingston's songs with comments like, "Somebody called 911," and "Ain't no beautiful girls where he's going." Dark humor, but it shows how Kingston's music is still part of the cultural conversation, even if it's now being referenced in a much different context. What's really interesting about the Reddit threads is the personal anecdotes that have emerged. Some users have shared stories about Kingston not paying bills at a transportation job and demanding free popcorn in Ireland, suggesting that his financial issues and entitlement might have been a pattern long before these fraud charges came to light. One Reddit user summed up what many seem to be thinking. "I'm guessing he made a not massive but decent amount of money that had he been really smart with it, he could have lived comfortably, but clearly he makes bad decisions." This gets at the heart of the frustration. Kingston had opportunities that many people dream of, but poor financial management and questionable choices led him down this path. In another Reddit thread about Kingston's home raid, a user commented, "Washed up celebs trying to maintain a lavish lifestyle with no money at all. Not surprising, but still fascinating that it still happens." This perspective highlights a common theme in discussions about Kingston: the idea that he was trying to maintain an image of success and wealth that he could no longer afford, leading to desperate measures. On YouTube, the videos covering Kingston's legal troubles have been racking up views. CBS Miami's video titled "Rapper Sean Kingston, Mother Found Guilty in Federal Fraud Case" has garnered 8,920 views and 52 comments.
Was he found guilty?
97's video, "Sean Kingston and His Mother Found Guilty of $1 million Fraud Scheme," has received 198
Damn, so what that mean? They gotta
news outlets have
They gotta go to court to see what the what they gonna get charged with.
New York Times and TMZ reporting on the verdict and potential consequences. The case has clearly captured public attention, not just within music circles, but as a broader story about celebrity, fame, and downfall.
So what does that mean? They just going. What does that mean? They going to court again?
And a certain sadness about
to get the
In an older Reddit thread from October 1st, 2021, titled "Folk of Reddit, you ever just wake up and wonder what happened to Sean Kingston?" Users reminisced about his hits and questioned his career trajectory even before these legal issues came to light.
They both got charged guilty.
There's still a
So they gotta go to court to get sentenced.
Curiosity about his journey. Looking at all these reactions together, it's clear that the dominant sentiment is one of surprise and disappointment, though with undertones of nostalgia for Kingston's early career. According to an article from Rolling Out on April 2nd, 2025, the public reaction to Kingston's conviction has been predominantly unsympathetic, with social media flooded with comments questioning his financial management. This tracks with the overall vibe we're seeing online, a mix of shock, criticism, and even some gallows humor. So what's next for Sean Kingston and his mother? As we've discussed, the sentencing is scheduled for July 11th, 2025, and they could face significant prison time. Kingston is currently currently under house arrest with electronic monitoring, while his mother remains in custody. Their attorneys have indicated plans to appeal the verdict, but the process could take months or even years to play out. If Kingston does end up serving prison time, it raises questions about his career post-release. The music industry has seen artists make comebacks after legal troubles, but the severity of these charges and the damage to his reputation could make a full career revival challenging. Kingston hasn't released a charting album since 2013, and this legal drama is unlikely to help matters. One possibility is that Kingston could use this experience as material for a potential comeback album or memoir. Artists have often transformed personal struggles into art, and Kingston's journey from homelessness to fame to legal troubles could potentially resonate with audiences if presented authentically. However, this would require a level of accountability and introspection that some critics feel Kingston has yet to demonstrate. Another factor to consider is Kingston's personal brand and image. He has 8.4 million likes on his Facebook page and a significant following on other platforms, suggesting that despite his declining music career, he still has a fan base. How he chooses to engage with these fans during and after his legal battles could influence his future prospects. It's also worth noting that Kingston's legal issues come at a time when the music industry is increasingly focused on artist authenticity and integrity. In an era of cancel culture and social media scrutiny, the tolerance for celebrity misconduct has decreased. Kingston will need to navigate this landscape carefully if he hopes to maintain any sort of public career. And what about Kingston's mother? Janice Turner's role in this fraud scheme was described by the judge as the operator, fixer, and accountant, suggesting she played a central part in orchestrating the fraud. Given her previous convictions for bank fraud and identity fraud, she may face a harsher sentence than her son. The mother-son dynamic adds another layer of complexity to this case, raising questions about family influence and responsibility. This case also highlights broader issues within celebrity culture. Kingston reportedly used his fame to secure luxury items, name-dropping collaborators like Justin Bieber to gain trust from businesses. This speaks to the power of celebrity in our society and how it can be misused. It also raises questions about the pressure faced by celebrities to maintain a certain lifestyle, even when their financial reality no longer supports it. From a legal perspective, this case serves as a reminder of the serious consequences of wire fraud. Each count carries a maximum sentence of 20 years, and even if Kingston and Turner receive sentences on the lower end of the spectrum, they're still looking at significant time behind bars. The case may also serve as a deterrent to others who might be tempted to engage in similar fraudulent activities. For Kingston's victims, the verdict may provide some closure, but the financial damage has already been done. Moshe Aderi, the Fort Lauderdale jeweler who lost a $285,000 watch, testified that he lost his credibility and was fired as a result of the incident. Other businesses, like the exotic car dealership that was defrauded of a $159,701.49 Cadillac Escalade, may never recover their losses, even if Kingston and Turner are ordered to pay restitution. The sentencing on July 11, 2025 will provide the next chapter in this ongoing saga. Will Kingston and his mother receive the maximum sentences, or will the judge show some leniency? Will they ultimately serve their full sentences, or could there be early release for good behavior? And what will Kingston's legacy be? Will he be remembered for his hits like Beautiful Girls, or will this fraud case overshadow his musical contributions? Only time will tell, but one thing is for certain: the Sean Kingston fraud case has captivated public attention and sparked important conversations about celebrity, responsibility, and the consequences of our actions. It's a reminder that no matter how high you climb, the law applies to everyone, and actions ultimately have consequences. If you enjoyed this, then hit the video on your screen, and let's keep going.
Shout out to KB Goes Live.
So it looks like Sean Kingston has officially ruined his own life after being found guilty on multiple different felony charges related to financial fraud, with the government convicting him for stealing over $1 million. Not only is he going down for it, but his mom has also been arrested, charged, and found guilty of the exact same charges. Now, some of y'all may remember Sean Kingston from the music that he released in the early 2000s, specifically his breakout hit, Beautiful Girls, that dropped in 2007. It was a reggae-infused pop single that climbed the Billboard charts, eventually hitting #1 and pretty much making Sean Kingston a superstar overnight. At just 17 years old, his smooth vocals and blend of Jamaican-American influences stood out. He quickly followed up Beautiful Girls with songs like Take You There and the dance floor anthem Fire Burning, which further cemented his popularity. By 2010, Kingston was collaborating with pop's biggest names, most notably Justin Bieber, on the top 20 single Eeny Meeny, exposing him to to an even wider audience. Kingston's self-titled debut album went gold, and he became known for feel-good, summer-ready tracks that appealed to both pop and R&B fans. However, his moment in the spotlight would be short-lived, and everything would eventually come crashing down around him after a series of bad decisions and legal issues started to take precedence over his music career, leading him down a path that would end in him and his mother both being convicted of fraud. Real quick, you guys go down to the pinned comment and hit the link. Join the Discord. We got a nice little community over there, and I would love to have you be a part of it. And
shout out, hey, check it out.
I just started trying to be active over there. I normally would never use X, but given that, content creation is my job, I have started trying to be active over there. So if you use it, and I know some of y'all don't, which is cool, but if you do, hit the link and follow me over there. And I'll see that he was driving into a bridge on Miami Beach.
After crashing his jet ski into a bridge over the holiday weekend, Kingston and his female passenger both ended up in the water.
We don't know if it was a direct hit or if it was a glancing blow. They did collide with the bridge, and they ended up in the water.
I stumbled behind him. I grabbed my arms under his armpits and then picked him his whole body out of the water, and then I grabbed onto the jet ski. So he was like this. I was telling him, don't worry, there's help coming, keep your head up.
Officials say nothing at this point indicates alcohol played a role in the crash. Kingston's mother told me that he rides jet skis all the time. Earlier this month, he tweeted, "I love Miami. Jet skis, anyone?"
He was taken to the hospital in critical condition, and while being treated, doctors discovered that he had a broken jaw and that he had torn his aorta artery, an injury that they had to fix by performing open heart surgery, resulting in a 23-day stay at the hospital before he was released. When he was released, he thanked God for giving him a second chance at life and said that he couldn't wait to get back to what he was supposed to be doing, which is music.
But why back to life, man? You act like you were dead. No, but I almost died. I was in a big jet ski accident, a year and a half ago, almost died. God gave me a second chance back at life, and I figured, I'm very close to God, and I have a great relationship with God, and I felt like, I owe him a lot. For him to give me a second chance back at life, back to doing what I love to do, back to music, and back in this industry, back, everything it starts with the word back, so I feel like it's only right, back to life, you know what I'm saying? Wow.
So despite this setback, Kingston continued to release music throughout the 2010s and 2020s. He dropped 2 more studio albums, Tomorrow, that came out in 2009, and Back to Life, that came out in 2013. And he kept his name in circulation by dropping mixtapes and featuring on other people's records. While he never quite replicated his initial chart-topping success, he was able to maintain a pretty loyal fan base. He also joined in on nostalgia tours and shared stages with other acts. For example, in June of 2023, he performed on the Hot Summer Nights tour alongside TLC and Shaggy, showing that he could still draw crowds with his classic hits. By this time, though, the spotlight on Kingston was increasingly being stolen by his offstage controversies rather than his new music. As Sean's music career continued to unfold, a series of controversies began to cloud his public image.
Sean Kingston had it all, bro.
In 2010, when
and he knew a lot of people
accused Sean and his associates of gang R-wording her in a Seattle hotel room after a concert.
He just fucked up his whole shit.
Denied to file criminal charges in this case, citing inconsistencies in the accuser's story and insufficient evidence, and the initial case was dropped because the alleged victim was found to not be credible enough to proceed.
Hey man, could you comment on the 2 girls trying to charge you with assault?
It was.
Nah, man, that's
disrespectful, man. Come on.
So no comment? They dropped the case.
Yeah, innocent.
Innocent, of course you are.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, I know.
However, the woman did file a civil lawsuit in 2013 where she was seeking $5 million in damages for the alleged incident, claiming that she suffered severe emotional trauma, and Sean vehemently denied the allegation. In 2013, he settled this lawsuit out of court for $100,000. He claimed that he only settled this lawsuit so he could avoid the distraction of a trial as he was preparing to go on tour. The lawsuit's fallout nonetheless hit Sean's reputation. In fact, a college even canceled his scheduled performance that year, citing a zero-tolerance policy for sexual assault in light of these accusations. Kingston remained quiet on these accusations for a while, but eventually spoke about it all in the interview that he did with Sway on the radio.
We're talking about your life and your friend's life, like Justin Bieber and all the younger guys. Before you guys got famous, y'all wasn't getting no.
Let's just be honest. Girls weren't checking for them. Girls were not checking for them.
No, not always in every case. I can see Sean getting some before he was famous.
I'm gonna give it G. I'm gonna give it G Sway. You know what I'm saying? You know I love you, my dog. But I was getting before Sean Kingston. But I was getting a different type. What do you mean by that?
Sean was like mega just confused because I remember seeing a story on TMZ and a girl had come out and said that she had gotten dated by you.
What do you mean by that?
And essentially got ganked by the entire team, but I had never heard your side.
That girl was in my room for 10 minutes.
That's all it took you?
10, no. I'm Jamaican, man. I got stamina. I rude boy. I want to tell. Around with your boss, man. 10 minutes, man. I want to tell, man. 10 minutes, brother. But listen, she was in my room. Basically, she came with a friend. I'm saying, like, she came. And to be honest with you, I don't tell the story then, like, because it's been people asking me, but it's this way. And to be honest with you, it's completely 100% bull. Like, you know what I'm saying? I did know the girl, not know her. Like, she came with a friend of mine. She came to the hotel room. She's like, okay, let's turn up. And let me remind you, this same girl tried to sue Pretty Ricky like 2 months before, like a couple months before me. You know what I'm saying? So she's already known in Seattle, Washington as a girl that's on the come up. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's what she was targeting of. So if you notice, when she said she got, the police came to my room, like, you know what I'm saying? Because she came with another friend. You know, I had a friend in Seattle was like, she's gonna bring some couple girls over. So the girls came over and she came in the room and she was there for 10 minutes and she left. And I'm like, yo, they said I raped her. I'm like, what's going on? What you mean? She's like, she's downstairs, she's crying. I'm like, huh? I was like, what you mean? Me and her had conversation. We ain't even, you know what I'm saying? Bro, literally, like, police came up, all this, like 6-7 people, they did tests, all that stuff. They put the swab, they did all that, everything came back. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. She did her criminal report. She had 6 different stories. Wow. She had 6 different stories. The police was like, bro, let's go. Like, I'm not even, like, you know what I'm saying? So the court, it was never criminal. Like, it was no criminal. And so now, since the criminal was over, now she was after the money. She said, oh, I need something now. My life has never been the same. I can't sleep at night. I need something. So she was going after like some $2 million, $3 million. And I was like focusing on my album. And it was like, you know what I'm saying? My mom was like, no, we're going to fight it. And I was like, Mom, listen, you go through all that. You have to spend money on lawyers. You have to go through. I said, listen, man, just give her $100,000. You know what I'm saying? I just paid her off just to get it. But it's sad because anybody can go through this. Whoa. And it's like, why is it? And it's like, why, huh? 100,000? Yeah, from 2 million sway. 2 million sway.
That's what I said. 2 million for the sexual assault is insane.
So that was really like just bad on my reputation. I was really more than hurt than anything just of when I read the story and when I seen what the girl was doing to me. But I still, at the end of the day, I still paid her just to get it off because I'm focusing on the brighter side.
This would only be the start of his problems, though, as he also found himself in the middle of violent confrontations as well, like in 2016 when he was involved at a brawl at an LA nightclub that left him as the victim of robbery. Apparently, a fight broke out and Sean was beaten and robbed of a $300,000 chain at the Penthouse nightclub in Los Angeles. The incident was well documented, and at the time, Sean made videos where he would call out rapper The Game, claiming that The Game is the person who set the whole thing up. Now, The Game did respond, basically denying it and saying that Sean was begging him to help get his stuff back when this all happened, and The Game also claimed that Meek Mill was the one who told Sean The Game was who set it up. Both rappers, The Game and Meek Mill, were present at the nightclub the night that this all went down, resulting in this back and forth right here.
You the same. Your mama was a crip. You a blood. Listen, you fake ass hoe ass. You a stripper. The whole world know what you about, hoe ass. Trying to sell some hours. How the fuck you look beefing with a pop star? You know what the fuck happened in the club? Them niggas ran up, hit me in the head with a bottle. They took off my jewelry. Nobody shot no fake with me. Nobody did nothing. You a hoe ass body boy. Suck your bumbo clock, boy. Oh, you feel like, boy? Gotta see a nigga that run a bumbo clock. Change your heart show, nigga. You was on a change your heart show. What the fuck you talking about? You a disgrace in the blood. I'm real bloods, you hoe ass. Fuck you. Everything you claim for, hoe ass. You 43 years old, still trying to do music. Hit me up. I need a hook. I need you to write for me, Sean. I'm trying to do some. I was a fan of the documentary. You been ass ever since.
I wonder how many peanut butter and jelly sandwiches Meek had to make your fat jelly bean smuggling ass to switch up on his Instagram when you know well that you got your ass robbed in the club, ran for all your jury, you ain't do you sat there and watched you get robbed. You left the club, called my phone, said, "Game, big bro, somebody robbed me. Can you help me get my chains back?" I told your fat ass that I would see what I can do. Then you got off the phone, called me back 10 minutes later talking about Meek called you and told you that I had you set up and robbed in the club. Then you sued the club, called the
Well, I mean, that's like LA's bars to me.
Meek on the phone, let him speak to me, incriminating me and my entourage saying that we robbed you. I had detectives knocking on my door in my crib. You a lying ass. And Meek, you know you can't fucking put hands on nobody or bust it. You can't fight. You ain't gonna shoot. So stop fronting for these Instagram followers. I'm f***ing you up on sight. Period. Both you niggas.
Yeah, I'm a fat. The world know I'm a fat. I went platinum being a fat. Fat that is still yo. Anywhere you buff ass, steroid ass, going to running cannon every day. 48 of fitness. 48 of fitness. Steroid pill, you hoe ass. You was one of
fuck, nigga?
I ain't no rapper. I ain't gotta be no street. The world know what you is. You ain't even good in your own city. You was beefing with your brother, Big Face 100. He the real street. Stop rapping about your brother like you hoe ass. You a hoe, and the whole world know Black Wall Street.
Another interesting fact here, Brick Baby, which is somebody that I've covered dozens of times on my channel, actually ended up taking credit for this robbery years later during a No Jumper interview.
Sean Kingston, he been scamming for years though. I had to get up on Sean Kingston. I had a backstory
for some juice.
Yeah, but I booked cuz though. I took his chain and his
oh damn!
That's amazing.
This is when I'm the tour guide. You know what I'm saying? When I'm taking pride of being the tour guide to LA. It should be your only tour guide in LA. You know when I was feeling like that, and I was hollering at him. Took it off with no type of.
And nothing ever came from it?
I mean, you owe me. What you gonna do? Call the police?
Right, but you never tried to make it a situation or anything?
With who?
Yeah, so that was just a fun little fact. Then, after this, in February of 2017, Kingston had a notorious run-in with the hip-hop trio Migos in Las Vegas. According to multiple reports, an argument allegedly over comments involving fellow artist Soulja Boy turned physical. Migos members allegedly assaulted Shine, kicking and stomping on him until someone in Shine's entourage fired a gun into the air to stop what was happening, and Shine decided that he would combat the reports that were coming out about this by going on the evening news to air out his grievances.
Popular singer Sean Kingston wants to clear the air tonight about exactly what happened near the Strip yesterday when his best friend pulled out a gun and shot into the air.
His friend is now facing felony charges. It all stems from a surprise run-in with a hip-hop trio.
Sean Kingston says that his friend fired that shot here near the Sands Expo in self-defense. He says members of the group Migo jumped him. He talked with us about the incident exclusively tonight.
You feel me? You see my face. It was no beat down. It was none of that. You know what I'm saying? It was a jump, but it wasn't a jump. You get what I'm saying?
Music artist Sean Kingston is laughing it off tonight. He says 9 guys came after him, including members of the hip-hop group Migos, after leaving a fashion show at the Sands Expo and Convention Center.
We went out there thinking we was going to have a conversation.
Kingston says he was tricked into meeting up with them outside.
They FaceTime me, yo, come outside, let's talk like men. I miss you, let's chop it up, you know what I'm saying? As soon as I went outside, it was no talking. It was people, they just started jumping on me, started throwing punches. I didn't have a chance to put my set up. I didn't have a chance to do nothing.
At the time, Kingston was with 3 other people and didn't predict any trouble.
It was very shocking.
Damn,
no matter what
bitch.
goes on, it's kind of like, they've been to my house, I've been to their house. My mom cooked for them. You feel me? Like, we don't do industry friends over here. It's either you rock
You
with
scamming
us,
niggas gonna get your ass cooked, man. You can't be scamming niggas thinking ain't nothing gonna happen.
He doesn't know for sure the reason, but is glad his best friend Moses Johnson, also known as Bojack, was nearby.
He held the situation down. He wasn't trying to hurt nobody. He wasn't trying to do anything.
The both met up at the house they were staying at for the week after police say Bojack fired at least 1 shot into the air during the scuffle. Bojack says he was just trying to get the guys off his friend.
It's no shooting at it ain't no at nobody. I ain't trying to do that to nobody.
Now, this beef stemmed from Sean's association with Soulja Boy, as Soulja Boy and the Migos had a little beef going on at the time, and Soulja Boy had made a video and posted it to social media, basically claiming that he sent Quavo, which was one of the rappers in the Migos group, the address to his house so that they could fight, and Quavo didn't show up. Sean was in the room with Soulja Boy and seemed to confirm what Soulja Boy was saying, and I guess the Migos didn't like that very much.
Trying to fight one-on-one with Soulja. Y'all ask Quavo, go interview Quavo. I text him the address to my house. Who do that? Who do that? Keep it real. Who do that? I text the address to my house, bro. Still ain't came, bro. The truth coming out. We gonna expose you niggas, bro. We let y'all niggas make it. We let y'all make it. Now y'all wanna try to flex on the big homie.
That boy Soulja
Crazy
Boy.
though, bro, because at the end of the day, I was right there. Nigga said pull up, he wanna fight one-on-one. If you had to go to no social media, nigga was gonna try to, you know what I'm saying? Nigga, you wanna hit? Nigga said, let's go, let's fade. You know what I'm saying? Nigga gonna fight one-on-one. Was trying to take it to no social media, no diss song, no nothing. It was to the point where bro ain't show up, then it was just like, okay, he wanna go in. You feel me? So, you know what I mean? Just wait, niggas push back their studio time, all type of shit, just to fight one-on-one.
Ultimately, no charges ended up being filed against anyone for this brawl, but the very public nature of the altercation added to Sean's growing list of headline-grabbing incidents. Anyways, in addition to these high-profile incidents, Sean had spats and allegations in the press that kept his name in controversy throughout the years. In 2021, a music video director known as Godlike, spelled Gxdlike, accused Sean of assault, claiming that the singer punched him and pulled a firearm on him during a disagreement over a video shoot. Sean once again denied the allegations, and no formal charges were brought in that case, but this story spread via TMZ and added to the narrative that Sean was frequently at the center of trouble. By this point, stories about Sean's legal and financial issues were becoming more frequent than news about his music, paving the way for more serious legal woes to come down the road. On June 28, 2018, he found himself in trouble again when a jeweler accused him of kidnapping and robbing one of his employees after a transaction gone wrong. According to reports, Amanda Torres was in Miami for vacation when her boss called her regarding a jewelry transaction that he wanted her to complete while she was on vacation, as Sean Kingston was also in Miami at this time. The boss explained that his employee would pick up 2 pieces of jewelry from a store in downtown Miami and then go to Sean Kingston's house to sell the jewelry for $75,000 and take in a trade-in watch. When the employee drove to Kingston's home, she learned that Kingston did not have the full $75,000. Instead, he only had $24,000. However, he still wanted the jewelry and said that he would pay the $24,000 as a sign of good faith, with the intention that the next day he would withdraw the rest of the money and retrieve his trade-in watch. This would have completed the transaction. The employee allowed Sean to take the 2 pieces of jewelry and took the $24,000. The next morning, Sean's mom called this employee and explained that she would withdraw the $50,000 from a bank on behalf of her son. She also explained that she needed a ride to the bank and asked if this employee would pick her up from her son's home. At this point, she had only received $24,000, but when she picked up Sean's mom did have the collateral watch that he was trading in, and with that, she thought that she was about to receive the $50,000 that they discussed the previous day. So they pick up Sean's mom, they drove her to the bank, his mom withdrew $50,000 and handed the money to her. They then returned to Sean's house, but when they got there, he wanted to talk. He said that he didn't want to trade in the watch that he had just given them, and instead he wanted to trade in a different watch. The employee refused to accept the substitute, and apparently they had a negotiation that lasted nearly 3 hours because of this. Sean eventually decides that he don't no longer want the jewelry and asked for his money back. The employee handed Sean his watch back and asked for the 2 pieces of jewelry that she had allowed him to take the previous day. Sean refused, stating that he was only going to give her back the jewelry if he had received all of his money, which at this point had been placed in a jewelry store safe. So Sean demanded that they drive downtown to retrieve the money, and again restated that he would return the jewelry once he received the rest of the money.
Man, you ain't gonna get nowhere like this in life, man, trying to scam niggas. like
and her
this,
boss advised her that they should just go downtown together so that they could finish this transaction. They got into his Bentley coupe. Sean was driving and had an unknown Latino male in the front passenger seat. Before they drove off, Sean asked this dude for his gun. They drove back. She got the money.
Well, yeah, this nigga robbing niggas at this point. Okay, this nigga robbing at this point. It's not no scam. This is robbing.
She then told him to let her out of the car and to give him the 2 pieces of jewelry back because he now had his money. In response, he yelled at her and said, "I'm not letting you out. I need to make sure all my fucking money is here. You're not getting out." Apparently, they counted the money multiple times. During the counting, Sean took off the jewelry, placed it in a box, and handed the box to this employee, but still would not allow her to leave. The guy who was counting the money told Sean that he had only received $23,700, which is $300 short of what he was supposed to get. And when Sean heard that, he tried to take the jewelry box from this employee. They struggled over the box. Sean overpowered her and took the jewelry box. And when this employee protested against that, Sean took out the gun that he had got from his friend, racked the slide, and pointed it at her, telling her, "You're not getting out of the car because I don't have all my money." She asked to count the money herself and explained that all the money was definitely there. Sean gave the money back. She counted it, and the money was in fact there. He apologized for pointing the gun at her, and she got out of the car. The body cam footage of this lady explaining the situation to police did eventually leak online.
My customer told me, "I want to sell some jewelry to Sean Kingston." I said, "Yo, be careful, this guy's a crook. He's a scumbag. That's what he do. He screw people."
I met Sean Kingston, turned around, he pulled the gun out of me. He was like, "You're not going nowhere, I got all my money." And then I guess he got nervous because I didn't get nervous about the gun. Let me count since your man can't count. Gun on you, you need to count slower.
Did he point the gun at you or?
Yeah, because I was in the backseat, we were in the coupe. Just pulled the gun out, pocket back, turned around, was like, "You ain't going nowhere, I got all my money." It shouldn't be broken, I don't think. He can't be out here just trying to get over on people that pulling out guns on people.
So who was on the actually pull a firearm?
Sean Kingston, like he had the firearm.
Sean Kingston was driving the car.
Driving the car. I went to his house. I dealt with him yesterday. He was going to give me $75,000 in cash. He was like, "We don't have the whole 75. We had it to the bank. His mom got the rest of the money."
Why were you only going to get 75?
Because he has a Sky Dweller watch that he wanted to trade in. When I got there yesterday, they told me, "Oh, I only have 24.
Came down.
Going back and forth because he kept saying like, "Oh, I got a video shoot tomorrow. I need my jewelry." So you take the 50,000 back. We'll go pick up the 24. He threw the box by his feet. He was like, "You ain't getting out," and he just kept getting right. I said, "Well, you ain't gotta you getting all. You trying to strong arm me right now." He just pulled out his gun. He clapped it back and he said, "You're not leaving this fucking car. Y'all owe me money. You over here pulling out a gun on a female. You ain't not looking tough at all. Like you need to relax."
By the early 2020s, Sean's name had become synonymous not just with the mid-2000 pop hits that he was putting out, but also with this pattern of financial and legal problems. In particular, Sean, alongside his mother, whose name is Janice Turner, developed a reputation for failing to pay for high-end goods, leading to multiple lawsuits and eventually criminal charges. Reports dating back to 2015 show Sean and his mother were successfully sued by jewelers and luxury retailers on several occasions. For instance, in 2015, a New York jeweler won a judgment of $356,000 against Kingston after he allegedly took expensive watches without paying. 3 years later, in 2018, the mother-son duo had to pay another $301,000 to another jeweler in a similar case involving 9 different pieces of jewelry that they obtained under false pretenses. This included a pendant of his initials, a diamond Jesus piece, and a belly ring chain. That's crazy. A belly ring chain is crazy. Also, around this time, him and his mother were also writing a ton of bad checks to people, with these luxury jewelers frequently accusing them of scamming them. These civil cases hinted at a much broader pattern of fraud, but for years, Sean settled these debts or paid up to avoid any further damage. By 2020, Kingston's pattern of non-payment escalated to potentially criminality. That year, a warrant was issued for his arrest on grand theft charges in California after he allegedly received a shipment of jewelry worth tens of thousands of dollars and never paid the bill. He was convicted of trafficking in stolen goods and sentenced to 2 years probation, according to online reports. He went on IG and posted this on his story saying, "People love negative energy. I am good, and so is my mother. My lawyers are handling everything." However, this probation would eventually become a critical factor in whether or not he would remain free when new charges emerged, as Sean was technically already under court supervision. This This all culminated in a major fraud case in 2024 in which him and his mother were criminally charged for an elaborate scheme to steal these luxury goods. The scheme, which prosecutors described as a luxury fraud scheme, ran for several years and involved fraudulently obtaining over $1 million worth of goods from various different vendors. John and his mother would order high-end products from diamond jewelry and gold watches to a 232-inch custom LED television and even a luxury bulletproof Cadillac Escalade. And then they would avoid paying for these items by using fake wire transfer receipts and bounce checks. In one instance, detailed in court documents, Kingston contacted a company called Verver Entertainment in late 2023 to purchase a $150,000 home theater system. He put down $30,000 and falsely claimed to have a working relationship with Justin Bieber, even promising promotional Instagram videos with Bieber in order to secure the rest of the credit. The company installed the massive TV in Sean's South Florida mansion, only to be met with excuses and no payment afterwards. They would eventually repossess the TV after the police raided his house and started seizing his assets.
And there certainly has been a lot of movement here at this home over the past few hours. Detectives with the Broward Sheriff's Office, they have literally been here on site all day long. As you can see, there is a mobile command post set up just outside of the home, and all of this has to deal with some very pricey equipment that allegedly was never paid for. A high-profile raid underway Thursday at this multi-million-dollar home connected to musician Sean Kingston.
An attorney for a company called Verver Entertainment says Kingston had a $150,000 television entertainment system installed in a home.
But all that shit and got caught with that shit is insane.
Right here. Basically a sales pitch that he goes through to defraud people. He's never paid my client for this $150,000 television.
More than a dozen deputies with the Broward Sheriff's Office carried out the raid on the Southwest Ranch's property, carrying boxes of evidence and even large pieces of something that was kept under wraps. At one point, a Bentley SUV was towed away from the home.
This was not an isolated incident. Prosecutors later revealed that between October 2023 and March 2024, Sean and his mother engaged in multiple similar scams. They allegedly stole almost $500,000 in jewelry, about $160,000 in luxury cars, $86,000 worth of custom furniture, and even conned banks out of over $300,000 via fraudulent wire transfers. To execute their scheme, the mother-son duo would provide fake confirmation receipts for wire transfers as proof of payment to the people selling them merchandise, tricking businesses into handing over goods before payment was actually sent. In reality, no money was ever sent, a fact that came to light when vendors discovered the wire confirmations were in fact forged. A telling piece of evidence was a text message that Kingston sent to his mother telling her, "I told you to make a fake receipt, so it looks like the wire transfer will be there in a couple of days." The fraud operation unraveled in May 2024 when one of the scam vendors, Verver Entertainment, lost patience and went to authorities. And on May 23rd, 2024, a Broward County SWAT team raided Sean's rented mansion in Southwest Ranches, Florida. They arrested his mother, Janice Turner, on the spot and recovered some of the unpaid for items like the TV and the car that we seen them taking a minute ago. Kingston himself was not home when they arrested his mother because he was actually performing at a U.S. Army-based concert in California that day. But that did not keep him free for long because within 3 hours, U.S. Marshals located and arrested Sean at Fort Irwin in the Mojave Desert immediately after he stepped off the stage.
On Kingston back in Broward, and his latest soundtrack sounds like this.
Organized scheme to defraud, criminal use of personal identification, grand theft, fraud, insufficient funds check.
The judge reading off a laundry list of his charges after he was arrested in California, where he was performing and brought back to South Florida to face allegations of fraud, more than $1 million worth.
And Mr. Anderson allegedly committed these offenses while on probation in the state of California for trafficking in stolen property.
Somebody call 911! His mother is also facing those charges, accused of using his name to get luxury goods released to them, and then once they'd get it, investigators say they just wouldn't pay. They'd even name drop other celebrities like Justin Bieber to get discounts. New video dropped on World Star Hip Hop's YouTube page using local tent footage of the raid and the arrests to give him street cred,
as opposed.
He was taken into custody in California on a fugitive warrant and held without bail initially. And within days, Sean had waived extradition and was transferred back to Florida to join his mother in jail. Notably, because Sean was already on probation for the 2020 jewelry case, this arrest also counted as a probation violation, adding another strike against him. In July of 2024, a federal grand jury formally indicted Sean Kingston and his mother, Janice Turner, on 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and 5 counts of actual wire fraud. Federal prosecutors took over the case given the multi-state nature of the crimes that were committed and the use of interstate wire communications. The indictment outlined how Kingston and his mother obtained quote-unquote $1 million worth of items through this fraud, where they targeted these high-end jewelers, banks, and luxury retailers. Each wire fraud charge carried up to 20 years in prison, meaning that Sean was theoretically facing a maximum of 120 years, although any actual sentence is likely going to be much lower. But both Sean and his mom pleaded not guilty and insisted on going to trial in this case, with Sean's attorneys claiming that some of the goods had been returned to the vendors and argued that there was no intent to permanently defraud them, which is absolutely wild. Bro, I was just defrauding you temporarily. Don't take it personal. I plan on giving this stuff back. Then you get some of the stuff back. I mean, yeah, y'all had to kick my door in and come take it, but I mean, you did get the stuff back. Anyways, Sean's defense portrayed him as a talented but financially unsophisticated artist who quote-unquote rose to fame overnight and had no idea how to run a business, implying that any fraud that might have been committed might have been facilitated by his mother instead of him. Turner, Sean Kingston's mom, did take the stand in her own defense during the trial, a move that prosecutors later said actually helped them, as they painted her as the operator, fixer, and accountant of the whole scheme. In fact, his mom had a prior felony conviction for bank fraud that she served 1.5 years in prison for, meaning that this wasn't her first time being involved in something like this, and prosecutors used this information to establish her intent and pattern in this 2024 case.
So he learned all from his mama.
March of 2025 in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Over 5 days, jurors heard from multiple victims, including a Fort Lauderdale jeweler who testified that he lost his business's credibility after Kingston bounced a $285,000 payment on him. They saw the incriminating text messages and fake documents, and Sean himself decided that it was in his best interest not to testify, and observers noted that he often appeared nervous in court. After only about 3.5 hours of deliberation, the jury returned a verdict on March 28, 2025. Sean Kingston and his mother were found guilty on all counts of wire fraud and conspiracy. Sean reportedly broke down in tears as the verdict was read, clasping his hands on his face and crying.
They could face 40 years in that bitch.
Immediately remanded into custody, and the judge deemed her a flight risk given her history, and even noted that her testimony during trial raised credibility issues. As she was let out of the courtroom in handcuffs, Kingston called out, "Protect my mother," to the marshals, distraught at seeing her being taken away. Sean Kingston was also deemed a flight risk and was told that he would not be able to get out of jail. I have seen reports saying that he was actually released on a $100,000 bond after spending a little time in custody. And then I pretty much immediately seen articles coming out saying that he was taken back into federal custody after he failed to actually pay that $100,000 bond.
Wait,
so
what?
I don't know. The whole situation is pretty crazy. When his bond was approved, Sean's lawyers asked the judge to let him travel to Texas for a performance, but that request was swiftly denied by the judge, who interjected. He's not going back to Texas, making it clear that Sean's
Texas, we got your lit in Texas, gang.
He is actually sentenced, because he has not been sentenced yet, and as of right now, it does look like he has actually been re-released on this $100,000 bond. Sentencing for Sean and his mom is scheduled for July 11th, 2025. The pair also still face state-level charges in Florida, including organized fraud, grand theft, and identity theft that mirror the federal case. It's possible that those state charges will be resolved with pleas or combined sentencing, given that they just got a federal conviction, but as it stands, Sean could face up to 20 years in federal prison for each count of wire fraud, though sentencing guidelines and potential concurrent terms make it unlikely that he would serve the maximum. You know, he may get 20 years for each charge, but they're all going to run at the same time, so he's not going to have to do 120 years over this. But the reality that Sean faces is harsh. A man who once had a bright career and future now will have to spend the next chapter of his life behind bars where there are no beautiful girls. But yeah, man, for now, that's the story. That's the situation. Y'all gotta let me know what y'all think about it in the comments down below. Anyways, that's it for the video, guys. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, tap the notification.
Alright, we're back. So y'all see from that motherfucking thing, man, Sean Kingston, man, he fucked up. Him and his mama fucked up. You know, they could be spending 40 years in federal prison. They could be spending 40 years in federal prison because, you know what I'm saying, a scamming. You know what I'm saying? It's like, when you come up from nothing and you had a harder life, man, you know, why would you want to lose all that over some BS? Trying to keep up with the Joneses. You know what I'm saying? Like, motherfuckers be trying to make that lifestyle. Niggas don't want to leave that lifestyle, you know what I'm saying? They see that shit going, they do anything. They don't want to lose that lifestyle, man, which is understandable. You know, when you up and you got what you need in life and you winning and you just, everybody's eyes on you, you just that nigga. And then everything just starts slowing down. It's like, damn, I ain't that nigga no more. I gotta get how I can get it because I want that feeling. So it's like, you back and trying to get to that feeling, but at the same time, it's like you crashing yourself out. You shoot yourself in the foot 10 times just to get 5 years worth of good luck, then you got 40 years worth of bad luck. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, we gotta understand that, hey, we might not be able to always get like that super success as we once did one time. You know, if you don't make the right business moves and you don't continue to get better, you ain't gonna be able to keep that same flow up. You know what I'm saying? You gotta really continue to pray and work your skills out, cause scamming ain't gonna get you nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, man, I respect the thief more than scamming, because scamming, you know, a lot of times we don't get to see who the scammers are. You know what I'm saying? Unless he robbed you in person, that's a thief. You know what I'm saying? Like I fuck with the thieves better because at least you know who stole it. You know what I'm saying? These don't know who stole the shit. You know what I'm saying? Scamming, I don't know who the fuck behind them fucking computers typing and doing nerdy ass shit, goofy ass shit, trying to prey on the innocent and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man. It's just like, it's a lot of shit kind of fucked up. You know what I'm saying? His mama they both arrested. They both can't leave and they just cooked. So, I don't know. I hope they can get free. You know what I'm saying? They can pay they fund, but at this point, they been fucking up. So, you know, after this it's the paperwork trail on their ass. So, hey, we out this bitch hood and outside. Big Crip in the gangster, you hood and outside shit, man.
Hey, Dad, you know, dog, when we link up, dog, this shit be legendary. You know this is instrumental, you the engineer on it, so Kodak everywhere.